Hello and welcome. Lovely to be here again this evening. Just setting the camera up. There we go. So today I'm going to be playing with the Winterly Treetops bundle and the papers as well, which I've just put down here. So let's bring you onto the table and I'm going to share what I'm going to be using. So this is a little bit of a tale with this one. I've got some of my fussy cutting in here. Now, when I go on holiday, you know, I love to take fussy cutting to sit and do on the plane or in any idle moments, just sitting around. So I've got some of these images in here. So we're going to have a look at those, but I'm actually going to be using my blends. I've got the Stampin' blends beside me, the whole tray, so we can use whatever colours we fancy. So I'm just going to take out the papers from here. There isn't an awful lot I've got left in this set at the moment, but I thought I hadn't used it lately, and I thought there's just something was dragging me to this one this evening. So I've got some sheets here. We have used this before. This one's really nice. I've got a template here for a bag that I've done previously on here. I could just run that through that with you again tonight. Some lovely background papers. It's a winterly scene. It's winterly treetops, but it's a lot of winter items and the berries and ferns and things like that. But it's nothing really too Christmassy. It can be used for anything similar. Sort of like time of the year. It's the autumn and the berries. Look at the birds on there. Gorgeous. Hi, ladies. Hi, Marilyn. Sitting ready for tonight. You're home alone. Oh, dear. You should have come over here, look. Never alone. Anyway, I'm just going through a few of these papers. You can see I've got several of those ones left, and the backs of these have just got different textures on them here. So they've got like a dandelion, like a seed head at the top there. Some nice things in there. Like I said, I'm running low on this set. I haven't got lots left. Seem to be all of the same patterns. This one here is just like a bark. I love this texture. But also we've got down here, I've got the bark embossing folder. Now when this was brought out, this bark texture here was brought out with this bundle. And it's a bigger, you'll see it's off camera. Hi Lynn, hi Anne. So it's a different type of texture, and it's the same size as the folder is the same size as your plates on the standard cutting machine. So it's good because you can do, if depending on what you're trying to achieve, you can actually get bigger pieces, which is great for scrapbooking or just multiple cutting. Do this and then cut it in half. So I do like this folder. So I've got that one out as well, just in case. But also I like this bark on this one. So I think these are all pieces of that same bark. So we might use some of those. And they're just little scrappy pieces left. So let's just pop those aside. I will run through, just whisk this through with you. Oh, I need somewhere to put it. There we go. Out of the way. And my ruler is up here. So I'm just going to run through it because the measurements on here, they are the whole width of a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper. And I've used it at 6 inches. Because this was a good size for me, because it's literally half a sheet. Just try and make sure if you've got a design like this that you have obviously in direction of the papers, don't have them going on the side. So all I've done here is just run through whistle stop because it was on one of my previous videos. So you've got here, I scored at 4 3/4 and then 5 3/4. So the gusset is 1 inch. And then I scored again over here at 10.5 and 11.5, again 1 inch there. The extra little bit on the end here, I've put some tape on there. You can see the tape. So when you actually remove that tape, you can attach this one straight on there like so and remove the tape and to stick that one down, and you end up with a little pocket like so. And then the ends, you just snip those up and the ends will turn in there, the little tabs, one down and then the other one on top. Okay, you can see I've put tape on there ready. So that's just our little bag. So just for little gifts, you can clip it together at the top with a bulldog clip. You can put some handles, punch some holes, put handles and ribbon and things like that on there. But you can vary the width. So if you want a narrow one, narrow bag, but a wider gusset, you just change your measurements accordingly. So just because that one was in that packet, I'm going to just run through that for you again as a recap. Hi Yvonne. Lovely to see you. Oh, hypothetically, you know what I mean. So what we're going to start today, the Winterly Treetops bundle is very detailed on here. It's very nice. This is a lovely kind of wreath shape, and there are dies with this set as well. So here's some pieces that have been partly coloured in. Okay, and then on here I have, that's the image that cuts the birds out, and single bird, double bird, and this is this one to cut that out, and some twiggy bits and the greenery. So, and then we have all the stamps in here as well. Okay, so we've got quite a lot going on in that set. So for today, what am I going to start with? We're going to do a full-size card. I've got several of the shades of the cardstock that was featured in that bundle. I don't know where the smoky slate came from. I didn't really want that one. So take that one down there. So I think I will start with an early espresso base, I think, the base card on this one, and maybe have some of these layers. Get rid of that, that's just a duplicate. Excuse me, I didn't grab a drink today, did I? So I'm going to cut base card from this and trimmer. They're just in the way of the screen, aren't they? So let's take those down. There we go. So I'm going to take the whole sheet of card. You know the drill on this one. We score it halfway on my red dots. So halfway for us is 10.5. Hi Leslie and Shaz. And then my other red dot on here is at 14.84. Standard measurements, box standard. So just crease those over. Tool out of the way, crease that one through, and then we've got the other one here just to put in the back of the packet for next time. Okay, get rid of those. Now I'm going to put some textured layer on here, but you can be my voting people and you can tell me whether you'd like to have the bark as a textured layer or as a embossed layer, textured, embossed, or the paper. So that's one choice tonight. I might just cut a panel ready in case. So just trying to think what I'm going to do with this. So this is a wing it, definitely a wing it night. I've had Jackie here today. We're getting ready for a function on Saturday, next Saturday. I quite fancy having a little layer behind this, so I'm going to put that a centimetre less than what the size of card is. And again, a centimetre less, so this is going to come down 13.8 on that one. Okay, so this is kind of going to fit in the centre there, but we might like to put a bright colour behind that just to liven it up. I might decide to put a red in there, depending on how the colouring goes and what we choose. Probably be a red to go with the berries. Okay, so that's that one. So we're going to go back to the images in the stamp set here. Because I said I'm going to use blends tonight, we're going to do some of the stamping. So, I haven't got the big block, have I? I've got all sizes except. What do I fancy doing? I'm just looking at the dies here. So we have the die that goes with the single bird, and we've got the one that goes with the double. I'm going to do a double one with the papers, and I'm going to do a single one stamped. So let's do this one first. That helps the stamp size as well. There we go. So now we're going to go for the white, basic white. Now we can use the basic white for the Stampin' blends. We do like to use watercolour paper when we're putting water to it. As the name suggests. All of those pieces in there are too narrow for this, I believe. Oh, no, maybe not. Let's see. Oh, yes, we can get that in there. Right, let's run with that one. You like it embossed? Oh, we might have to have another little piece on there that we do some embossing on as well, some textured. So we're going to ink this one up, and because we're using blends, Stampin' blends, we're going to use the Memento ink pad. Okay, this is the black, it's the neutral, and just tapping this one on here. There we go. And stamp, we'll probably get two in here actually. You know me, thrifty, I like to do more than one if I can. And then ink that up again. And then I'm going to do yin and yang so that the tails go like so. There we go. There we go. Look how crystal clear they are. That's the rubber stamp there that's in the set. Brilliant. So that out of the way. So what I'm going to do, I've just cut a second one just because the piece of paper allowed. I'm going to take one of those away and pop that back in the box to be used for another time. And I'm going to take the papers. So we've got the papers on here. These are a really good starting point as being, I'll cut that in a sec. The papers are a really good starting point for how to use your colours. Okay, so if you're stuck, some people say they don't know which colours to choose. So we could transfer these colours onto the stamped image. The die will also cut these ones out. So you can pop that on there, and there's a lot of images on the 12-inch sheet that you can actually physically cut. Some of these obviously are a bit sad. They've obviously run off the edge of the paper, so they don't really work very well. But they can. Some images can be used other ways. So I've got all my Stampin' blends here. So I'm going to use some colours that were listed for this one, and I'm just going to swap that over just a sec. There we go. So on here, the back of the card, we have the name of the stamp set and the ordering code. But look at all those colours that are featured in there. There's a lot of colours in it. It does tell me that Cherry Cobbler is the main red one, and there's some orange in there on some of the images, and there's real red as well. So we could do a blend of both. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Those are light real red. I've got two the same, and a dark real red. So that's those two, and then we're going to have the Cherry Cobblers as well. A light and a dark. It can be hard to see on there where the names are. These ones are very pale, but that's the dark one there. I'll pop that back in. Chuck that back in. Oops, Daisy, they've just slid out. Never mind. So we're going to do some colouring tonight. So I like to have a scrap of card, you know, under here. Sorry, I'm just leading across the camera. So Daisy. Oh. There we go. I was using those this afternoon, and here I've got some scraps on there, so it's handy just to grab a little piece that you can work on and see how the colours are going to turn out. So I want to do the body of the bird here in the lighter colour, so I'm going to go with a light real red and just colour a piece on here first and see if that's what shade I like. That one needs replacing. Okay, so that's not a good start, is it? Let's go with the lighter cherry. The nib on this one, they both need going, don't they? The nib on there is getting a bit fluffed. Unfortunately, they do need to be used gently, and we try not to scrub the nibs. So when I have other people in classes using them, unfortunately, I can't always control how they're being used. I'm gonna soldier on with this one and just go. I can't go right to the edge because it's not working. So definitely need to be on my next list, don't they? Let me see if I've got the dark one there. I have got another set, so let me just move those out of the way, and I'm going to try these ones. These look newer. There we go. I have replaced them already. Look. So I'm going to colour the bird in the light cherry cobbler on here. And if you look across here, there's been a little bit of a border around his neck left. So I'm going to come down here and colour in just mostly what's been coloured on here. Okay. So I'm flicking in from the outside edge. You can turn the other way and make sure that you don't go outside the lines. If you're right, I'm right-handed. Most of, if you are right-handed, it's easy sometimes to go away from you. So I'm just going to colour this in. So this is the light cherry cobbler. Okay, we are a tad darker than the one on here. So then from there, I'm going to go through and take the darker one. So I've got the dark shade. I'm going to use the fine tip because I want to just exaggerate some of the other pieces on here. So like where the wings are, where there's texture, just come around some of those edges. The stamp actually gives you a good hint on here as to where to go to. Now, you'll probably have remembered me saying before that the you can layer up your blends. So if I come around the neck there of the bird, okay, and then I'm going to go back in with the lighter one, and I'm going to just blend that out. So I'm just going to stroke that out. So by stroking it out, we're taking away the edge, so it's not going to be a sharp contrast. Okay, a little bit more around the chest there. And then they will just blend as they dry. Okay, you can actually just see that happening. Okay, while that's just resting, I'm going to come up here with the greys at the top. So I'm going to go for the grey granite. And I'm just going to do some of the lighter areas. So this is the light smoky slate. So that's for this very pale one in here. It's going to be a costly time coming up, I think, because I haven't used some of these for a while. And I think they've run their course. Sadly, we don't have refills for the Stampin' blends. The alcohol-based ones, we don't have those. So just blend those in. And if I want to leave a little bit of white like they've done on there, I'm going to come in on here with the light, but I'm also going to go over with layers. So if I just come up there slightly, when that's rested and that's dried, we'll be able to see a little bit better on the colour. So I might do the face here as well, actually. And then go over. I could use the dark colour on here, but I think that might be too dark. Okay, so I'm going to go over that once, let that one rest, and then we'll come back in here. Hi, Anne. So I'll come back in. By going 2 layers of pale, you get different shades. It's a case of not being afraid of it and just work with. Okay, just blending that out. Coming over the light again with the light for the second time. Okay, and you can see how that's coming up darker already. Secret with the blends is just to play. Don't be afraid of them and just play. I'm going to try and merge those in a little bit. Blend them. Okay, and then just a little bit more around here. Got a little bit of white showing, just as they've got some daylight coming through there. Okay, there we go. He's starting to look nice. I'm going to do his feet coming through here. I'm going to do the little legs, and we only want those to be very, very tiny. The claws on here. There we go. I'll do those ones. And then I will take the browns for here. I noticed on the list here that we had the card colours I got out earlier. We've got the copper clay in there. That's a nice bronzy sort of colour. Grey granite is a pale one, but copper clay is quite a nice shade, so I'm just going to get those ones. That's pecan. It's going with the copper clay. So that's these ones. So I want to just try this on here and see if I'm going to like this colour. That looks a little bit gingery to me, so I might not want that one. How are they looking? Maybe not. Let's just try. This is the pecan pie. I'm just going to see what that looks like. You see, that's more gingery, I think. So maybe we are on the right colours. Put those away. So let's try these as a two-tone. So I'm going to go in with the light first. It is quite narrow along here, so I'm going to use the fine tip. Okay, this is without glasses, by the way. Maybe I better grab those. Get those from the other side of the table. So who's been using their blends lately? What's your favourite colouring medium? Now, when these go on, they do go dark and they do dry a little shade lighter. So I'm just going in between those claws there at the moment. Okay, there's a twig in his mouth. I'm not quite sure what colour that one is, but it's so fine. I'm going to use a lighter colour of grey on there. Okay, so I'm just thinking, you're in close enough to be able to see me. There we go, a little bit closer. So this has got a darker line along the top, so I'm going to come in here and go over a layer. So I'm using the same one. It's still the light copper clay, and I'm just going to come over the top half of that, the twig, the branch that is sitting on. Okay, because two lights make a darker. You're getting different layerings of colours in there. Okay, so just along that top piece. Okay, so that's that one. And then we're going to go back to the cherry for the berries. Okay, I've got to see which was the newer ones of these. Let's try it on here. So that one's good. I don't want them to be too dark. That is the lighter one. I'm going to colour these first, just with one coat, and round here. Again, using the fine tip for the detail. Okay, this little tiny piece here is quite dark, so I'm going to colour that one in. But I do want to go over that with the second layer, so I'm just going to wait a little while with that one. We have a colour lifter as well in here. This is the white one. It's a colour lifter. It does pull out the colour, so if you've gone over anything and you want it to just lighten it slightly, you can actually just lighten it with the colour lifter. It helps blend as well. So I'm going to lighten his beak just slightly, and I've just made sure that the eyeball is clear. So that's that one. So we're back to the light cherry cobbler again now. And I'm going to go over that dark piece of the berry, just the little circular piece in the top there. It's not much of it, and you can just go down where the light's going to just show around one side of it, so the light is coming in from one angle. So I've done that, and let's just have a look at that piece, if we can see what colours on there. I think it's just been done like a very, very light brown on there. So I think I will go with, see if crumb cake, yeah, there we go, that will be nice. Crumb cake, light crumb cake. So it's just very gently coming through there. I'll hold it up to the camera in a sec, and I'm going to do that little twig as well that he's got in his mouth. Okay, because it's such a fine print on here, you probably won't see much of that, but I'm going to bring it up to the screen there. Okay, so you can see the colours, and you can see it's slightly different on here, but the printing is different to the actual pens, but they are the same colour hues. This I could have done in a lighter shade, but my real red just is not playing ball tonight. Okay, so there he is. I'd like his head to be a little bit darker actually, so I think I'm going to go back to the drawing board with that one. I just want to see how dark this is going to come up. There we go. This is the dark smoky slate. Okay, just to give the differential between them. Just make sure not to go over the eyeball, because we don't want him to be darker. Okay, there we go. And that's just made him come through a little bit more, a little bit on the tail there. There we go. So he's ready to be cut out. So I'm going to bring the machine up, a little cutting machine. And the plates. So one on the bottom, and then this one. Take the die. I haven't got any tape on here today, so we will just, fingers crossed today, I haven't got the tape, but it's not going to slide. Famous last words. Okay, I might have a post-it note. Let me just see if they are on the table. They were earlier. No. Okay, we're just going to hold this very still, and we're just going to go for it. So I think he's in the good place. So just place that on there very carefully, and we'll run that through. And there he is, look. I could go in the bin. Okay, now before I do disappear off here, I'm just going to take this one out and then cut this one as an image. Just rough cut round. And do this one as well. Let's line him up on there. So the idea of Stampin' Up! Doing this, where you have the papers that you can die cut, it's if you want to just cut them, they're fine. Some people will love to colour. some people will love just to cut the papers. So the papers do the work for you. But then once you've finished those sheets of paper, you can actually go on and stamping and use them to your heart's content. Okay, so that's going in the bin. And there's the die cut image. So you've got two different images, one coloured and one on the papers. Okay, and put that away so I don't lose it. Put those out of the way. Now, with regards to this, I kind of had an idea in mind as to what I was looking at, and I kind of like this to be 3D, but I want a bit more branch. So I'm thinking might see. This is a really good image to have on there, but now I've coloured this one. I wanted some of this branch. Now I do little tricks with this, so let's just grab a big. I will grab the bigger block. Just a sec. If you're working to a smaller card, but you want the branches on here, you can actually fussy cut those out. So you can cut the whole solid piece with a die cut, the whole image, but then if you just want part of this, you can actually fussy cut around that. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to grab a muted grey, so I'm going to do pebble cloth. Okay, no, with the blends I will do this one. So I need a bigger piece of white paper. I'm going to have to take a piece off the side of this. Move those out of the way. So let's just take a slice of that. Take that out of the way. So if I just, all I want on here is just to have the greenery, the branches. So, and then we'll colour that one in quickly. Don't need to cover the whole thing, just aim for where you're heading. And I really would like a piece of scrap paper under there. What have I got there? Because the ink is going to go onto the board otherwise. So I only need this little piece here. There we go. Again, lovely detailed image. So I'll rough cut that away. And then we'll colour this first, and then we will die cut it afterwards. So just the browns at the moment, so just going to colour those in and bring that one back from the papers. And we've got the image here we want to colour. Just in that pecan, I'm going to go with a lighter colour again and just come through here. You will have the bird's claws on there, but if you're just culling through, you can blend that away. And I'll colour some of the berries as well. There. Who are my colourers that are watching tonight? Those that love their colouring. It's very therapeutic when you do. I like my watercolouring, that's my preferred method, because I like the fluidity of how the colours run. So again, this is the light cherry cobbler. Going over the whole berry, and then I'll go through the top piece again. The two things in class that get class members quiet are colouring and fussy cutting. So when you get the two together, it's very quiet. Go over the whole image, let that just rest slightly and dry, and then I'll go back in with the coat again. So I'm just going to colour that little tip in there and go around one side, tip and one side, just where the light would be catching it. Very subtle, you probably can't see it on the screen. Adds a bit of depth to the colour. There we go. Okay, I think we're there. So this die, as I said to you, the die wood for the bigger ones, the bigger birds, will cut the solid image out. Now we don't want all of that solid image. This is like an outline one. We don't want all of that, so I'm going to fussy cut that one today. So we're just going to take some of that out, and then that's going to sit on the paper over there. So just take out the images that you want to keep. So discretion, whatever you want to use of the images. Okay, and my fussy cutting, as you know, I'm keeping the scissors still and then moving the card round according to what, pivoting here with my left hand. I'm coming up there. Okay, round the edges. Now we're not going to keep the birds this time, so I'm going to come round the back of that and fussy cut down this side. Hope you can see. Trying to keep the camera clear. Coming into that corner. Just snip right to the end if you want to. Just pierce that right snip. And then turn the corner and come back out. Okay, you will get some of the body of the bird, but that's not really going to be shown because your bird's going to sit over the top of it, the single bird. So kind of changing the layout of it from being the doubles to the singles. Okay, it's going to be very fine, but we will take those tails off there, come back up the other side. Leaving a little bit of white on there. I'm going to come across here and just take this excess white out. Hopefully you can see me. Just pivoting on that heel of the scissors in there. And I like to go down into the berries. It's entirely up to you how confident you are with your cutting. Oops. Come around the side of those berries. And round again. Hi Jeanette, nice to see you. Don't often catch you on here. We're doing wintry cards, not necessarily Christmas, but they're wintry cards. I like to take the excess off there when I'm fussy cutting because it just gets in the way. So I'm going to pick up again there, just using the heel of the scissors and pivoting with this, my left hand. Okay, just tiny little borders, and it is all practice. I know I get lots of comments about my fussy cutting, but it's just practice. And honestly, you do get better. I've had people definitely say they've improved just by trying, having a go. So this piece in the middle here, I do want to get rid of that bulk, but now I've got rid of the excess round here. It's made it easier to access. Okay. And of course, if you wanted more, you can build up your layers. So you could go for more than one twig and just overlap them. Think of nature. Nature's not perfect. You don't get nice and pristinely laid out. But so you could actually layer some extra pieces coming across them as you wish. Okay, I'm still just working around that last little bit. I can see underneath here, you've got the branch over the top, but just see around the outside edge there and get them out of the way. And there's a little sharp point there. I'm going to take that one away. So there are my twigs. Okay, and then we've put that to one side. Now we've finished with it. So this one could actually have, the bird could then be sitting on those twigs like so. That's what I'm going to aim to do. So we'll go back to the card here that we started off with. We did this texture here with the printed papers, but we have got a piece of the birch embossing folder here that's I've already done that for you. So it's just a case of really having it, maybe have a smaller piece on here with the birds on, and then we could have that like so. So I'm going to cut a little piece off about that. I'm going to just eyeball that. So I want it about where my thumbnail is, so I'll just pick a round number there. Oh look, that's 7, that's a good one. So take that off, and that piece can be used on something else. And then we wanted to go across that card, and we want the birds to be sitting on it. So maybe to have that to about there, which would be 8 centimetres. Got 7 by 8. So if you want to recreate this, you'll be able to have those measurements. So I'm thinking I like this off to the side. I might decide now that I'm going to bring that down a little bit, okay, in size. So if that was there, and the birds are going to sit on there as well, like so. I like the narrow border on here, but I do need something behind this. We need to make this stand out a little bit more. So I said about the cherry cobbler, didn't I? I might just get some cherry cobbler card. So let's have a piece of this. We'll see whether we want to do the cherry cobbler around the outside or just sponge it. I think we're going to do sponging as well. So I'm going to have this piece. This was 7 by 8, so I'm going to go just a little fraction larger than that all the way around. Just a few mils. Doesn't need to be much. With my baby trimmer. Okay. So we're going to go 8. There was 8 before this way, so I'm going to go 8.3. 3 mils is just a nice little border for having a small edge to it. So 7.3 by 8.3. And then this will sit on there. Okay, like so. So let's get that one stuck down. Absolutely, Jeanette. Yeah, we can talk about that. That's fine. If you just send me a quick message, that'll just remind me. I'll get some. I have got some on order. So I am out. I had to use them for a class. I had a larger class on Wednesday, and I had to break into my last reserve one. So I'm just waiting on those coming in, and then I can message you when they're in, and you can pop by. Or I might be passing yours at some point as well, so we can do that. So then on this one, I think I'm going to use, I've used a card layer on this one with the cherry cobbler. This one I'm going to take, I want it to be subtle and I want it to be a bit smoochy. So I'm going to just grab a piece of, my little pieces of sponge that I love to use, and the cherry cobbler ink that goes with the card, papers and everything. So I'm going to just edge this. Now when I do this, I do say to you, don't do it over your project, because the little fluffiness, the little spray, it's literally just going to smooch across there and it can splatter. I liken it to when we were all at primary school and we had toothbrushes and we dipped them in paint and then we pulled a coffee stirrer or something across them. Didn't have coffee stirrers then, no, did we? Something. We used to, I forget what we used to use, but we used to just pull something across them and then that gave splatters. A little bit like this sort of effect. It's just fluffing it out from the sides. So it gives you a border, just an edging, a softener around that edge, but it doesn't add a lot of depth of colour. Okay, so I'm literally, I do it over the ink pad wherever possible. So if there's any little splatters come off, they just are going onto the ink pad. Okay, so that's just given me a nice little border there. You can just see the little tiny edging. Move that out of the way, shut the ink pad up. There we go. Then we come back and we'll start building a little bit on here. So I'm going to stick this one flat. All the way down. Our Tombow is the best. It is a really good PVA adhesive. It hasn't got high water content like a lot of the PVAs do. It's just a good all-round for most things. Just don't use it on ribbons and fabrics. So I want this, I don't want this one to be in the middle. I want it to be over on the edge. So I'm actually going to put that right to the edge of the card. Maybe the lower third there. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals, which I had got out somewhere on before we started. There we go. My tweezers, of course. Put those in the corners. Oops, left it behind. So I come in a little bit away from the edges, and then depending on the size, you want to put some in the middle just so it doesn't sag. And then this is going to go, decide if there's a right or wrong way. I don't think there really is. I'll go with how it landed. So if you use your grid mat or your grid paper or a mat, you can actually line this up so you can try and it helps you with the straightness. So this is going to come right to the edge there. It's right on the edge. I'm just coming in slightly. Now we haven't talked about my greeting yet, my sentiment. This has got a straight edge, so that straight edge wants to come onto that edge there, and then the bird will come on separately. Okay, so we can do this one. The bird will be on pads as well. Okay, I won't take the backings off yet because we don't know what we're going to do with it. And then I need some edgings. So I had some, I call them bits and pieces, and I keep my little thrifty bits on here. We use all the edges of these. So I've got some little skinny pieces here that I've sliced earlier. So I'm going to put one on the bottom and then one on the tail. And I might do another little piece in there. So all we're doing is just snipping those edges so there's no waste. And that can come through there. So when we're ready to stick that one, that would be good. And this one for now, we could change the angle if we wanted it, like so. I might have that one coming downwards actually. So just need to re-angle this. Take that little piece off so that the edge of that is angled a little bit more upright. Okay, but we can still put it down the bottom corner here. Okay, so I am just going to put this one flat. So this is where I'm using my Tombow. Glass this down. And I put this on flat like so. Hi Debbie. You can see all the ink bleeding through here. Now this is a characteristic of the blends because there's that alcohol pens, so the pigment is quite strong. It does bleed through. So I always remind to say, don't ever put the blends straight onto a card base because it will bleed through and it won't look very nice. So just be conscious of that when you're doing your colouring. Okay, so I'm just placing on that on the gently, not smudging it so it's not going to move. And then the bird is going to come and sit. We've got the little bit of the branch there, so we can integrate that somewhere. We can just angle that slightly and let him blend in with what's already there. So this one here, that could be another branch coming off that corner. And he could sit there with the berries underneath him. Wherever I want to put him there, I think. That would be good. So let's take those, I won't take them off yet. I'm going to do the greeting. So let's just let him rest there a minute. So he's not a drunken bird. He's going to sit there nicely. There we go. And then choose which sentiment I'm going to have from that set for our greeting. Okay, so we've got sending thanks and much love, thinking of you always. This is quite big to go on this card. So I think the sending thanks is always a nice sentiment. But then having said that, it's quite a big greeting, isn't it? Now, you know what I'm going to do? Take another block. I'm going to do this one. Not that I don't want to have much love, but you can do just sending thanks on its own, and then I will fussy cut around that or cut a little block around it, and that won't take up so much room then. So I've got a piece of the white card here. So shall we do this one in cherry? Bring some more of that lovely rich colour through. So if I stamp that one quickly. And we can take the baby guillotine. Don't need those yet. I'm just going to cut that one away. So I go by the letters first, the words on here, and cut as close as I can. Okay, and then I want to not waste too much card, so I'll use this line as my plumb line, my straightener. Okay. I might just come a little bit inside of that line. Okay, and then we'll take these off. I didn't want to waste too much of the card, so I will then cut these ones straight as close as I can, and that side, and then we'll take off the bottom little piece on here, so we can go through that middle piece. And that little piece there, all on its own, can go back in my box of stamps in here, and then that can be used for another time. But for today, I'm just going to be using this piece. Piece that out of the way. And those. See, this to me is quite chunky. And you know what I like to do? I think to be doing this more and more lately. I like to just take this, soften the edges, and just come around with a fussy cutting. So you can leave it straight, you can make it into a banner, you can do whatever you like, but if you do like your fussy cutting, you'll see how that's going to look when I finish. I'm just going to cut around those. I've just done a load of these for the event next week with Jackie today, and while she was sitting there I just did all of them just to finish them off. It doesn't take long, bit of practice. There we go, and round there. We're just pivoting with my hand here like I did earlier with the bird. Okay, Jeanette, yeah, just give me a message, send me a message. You're welcome. Okay, and I'm going to bring that just a tad closer as well. There we go. Just round that edge off. That can go in the bin. And then this one is ready to go. Now, I hope you can see on there how much neater that is by taking that excess away. It's not got sharp square corners. So I will, because this is raised, I'm going to put this one flat, and then the bottom of this will have some foam pads along the bottom there. Okay, so again, we're using up these edges. Take a couple of pieces there, and another one off that side. I only want this along the bottom to level it up here, so we haven't got a little platform. And there you go, that's enough. Okay, get those out of the way. And then the top edge here, hold that with my tweezers. The top edge is just going to have the Tombow, the green adhesive, because it's just going to level off with that piece. Okay, so it's just going to sit there. Make sure it's nice and square. There we go. Look at that. Okay, and then we start to come together then, don't we? So we've got a nice little, very festive, beautiful. You love to fussy cut. Yes, slightly, Angela, you know me. And Anne loves cutting around sentiments. Excellent. Thumbs up to you, Anne. All the way over in New Zealand. So what have I got to do on here? I want to put some gems on here. I want to put some sparkle, something nice and bright. I was just thinking whether I've got, they're not in that packet, are they? I've got some gems here. This is my gem pot. And what did I have that might go with that one? That's not the ones. I think there were some that went directly with this one, but I'm not sure whether I've used them all. Earth tones. Ooh, we've got the brownie colours in there. They go quite nicely. No, not there. So let me see. Not in there either. Not in that fussy cutting. So I think these ones will be fine. The earth tone shimmers. These ones kind of go through to the browns in there. Let's see. That's creamy. That's more creamy. They're not as... These are frosty ones. Let me just see what it's going to look like. Oops. So those would be just sparkling. I haven't stuck the bird on here yet, have I? He's still flying, look. Let me just take these off and get him fixed. There we go, take them out of the way. And that one, and then one down the bottom. Did he come off? No. Take him off as well, there we go, pick him up. And then I'm going to stick this one here where I slanted that branch. That was to make him blend in with that branch. Okay, and then he will look like he's joined on all along. But if I move him slightly, we'll see the rest of the branch that side. Okay, so he's an extension of that branch really, if you like. So we've got that sitting like so. Okay, now we do of course have, we've got the gems first. Just tell me whether you think that these tones would go with that card, or whether you'd rather have clear ones. Because I tend to go back to my clear ones so much. The clear just sometimes goes better. And I think these aren't quite the brown that we've used in there. They kind of go with the branches, but I'm thinking that the clear ones are going to be... Oh, thank you. I'm thinking that the clear ones here will go with the greys coming through on the bird. So I think I'm going to put those ones away and use these. They are my go-to gems. My clear ones are the ones I use most of all. Okay, so bring that one down. So I like my little trio of 3. So if I bring, oops, popped him off. There you go, jumped off there. So I'll pop 3 in a little row down there. Just picking them off with my tweezers so they hopefully won't jump so far. There we go. So I've got 3 little bright ones there, and then we could have maybe just a couple. Odd numbers are good, so let's do 5. Let's put a couple. Yeah, we'll put one down there. And we dither so much with our gems where to put them. Random is sometimes better. I'm just going to place one on the back there, I think. There we go. So got a little bit of bling on there. Just hold that to the camera so you can see. And we haven't done the liner yet, so we do need to do a liner. I did have a panel. I'm going to use this because I had this earlier. It's not quite square. I'm just going to square that one off, and that will be my panel for the centre. So just make sure all the edges are square. Just lining it up on the top of my card and get that as big as I can, so that's losing a little bit on the slanty edge. There we go, they can go in the bin. And this should go to the centre of my card. Now I do need to just put a piece of that other paper on here. This paper we had here was for the backing. I like to bring that back through where I can. So that little piece we cut off is just the right size. So I'll leave that overhanging. Just cut it a little bit closer so I don't put glue everywhere. And then I'll trim it neatly later. But because I've got the red edging on this, I'm going to do the red edging on this one as well, just to tie it in nicely. So, bit of sponge, just the edges. And that ties through to the middle of the card where you write your sentiment and address it to the person. Just a soft little hint on there. There we go. And that can come on this inside piece. So tweezers so I don't get glue everywhere. And just cover this. Near to the edge but not too close so it doesn't squeeze out. And I'm going to place that just a little bit up from the bottom. Oh, and you know what that's going to do now? It's nice and straight, but when I do this, I'm going to just trim that off. I turn it to the back to do that because it's easier, and you can just take your scissor blade down the edge. But I've chopped off my little piece of red now. So I'm just going to take the red that was already on here, and I'm just going to fluff that edge. So we just put that back again. Okay, and then that can go in the liner just inside there so you have something to write on. And there we go. I'll catch up on all the comments later. I haven't been able to keep up with them tonight. There's quite a few, just a little flurry coming in there. There we go, and then that's for your sentiment. So there's our little card. Okay, I'll move that out of the way. And then of course when I go on to do the envelope later, I can just put another little strip down the side of the envelope and make that all come tied together nicely. It's a very cheerful little card, love him. Oh bless. The cutter is fabulous, Susan. Sadly, oh, you forget to use it, so you've got one. Sadly, that was a promotional item, and that was a perk of, I was talking about that today, it was a perk of being a demonstrator, because when the promotion ended, they did put them up for sale, but they sold out so quickly. So I didn't get a chance to get a second one, but I could have sold several over. Oh, you're off to your Monday craft group. Oh, enjoy, Anne. That'd be lovely. Like I say, I'll catch up on the rest of the comments later, and I'll leave you with that card tonight. I'll do the photo and I'll set that on the header on the YouTube channel. So I'll just bring you back to me, take that off and bring you back across. So say thanks for joining me, and we can't believe that we're into November already. We'll blink and it'll be Christmas will be here, and we've still got lots of Christmas cards to make. So I will be back here again on Wednesday with another project of some sort. If you've got any requests, as always, just give me a shout and I'll try and build them in to whatever we do. Okay, take care. Stay